Have you ever had a desire so intense that it seemed impossible to achieve? Have you ever imagined something with such force that you could almost touch it, feel it, and live that reality? But when you opened your eyes, nothing had changed? What if I told you that it is possible to turn a simple thought into something concrete, real, and tangible in a way you could never have imagined? That what seemed too far away can suddenly knock on your door in the most unlikely way possible. This is the story of Daniel Thompson, an ordinary man who dared to dream and ended up experiencing a transformation that forever changed his view of the world. What he wanted wasn't just a car, it was the car, a symbol of freedom, overcoming, and victory over years of financial and emotional limitations. He dreamed, believed, and received, but the journey to that moment was far deeper than he could have imagined. Daniel was 34 years old and lived in Austin, Texas. He worked at a tech company, but his reality was far from what he desired. Although he had a stable job, his salary barely covered daily expenses: rent, bills, groceries, and small emergencies. He drove an old car, a 1998 Toyota Corolla that no longer inspired confidence. The driver's seat was torn, the air conditioning had stopped working months ago, and every morning he prayed the engine wouldn't fail. Yet deep down, he nurtured an intense, almost obsessive desire to own a black Tesla Model S with a white leather interior and a full digital dashboard. It wasn't just a whim. For Daniel, that car represented far more than luxury or status. It symbolized freedom, independence, and the feeling of triumph over all the limitations he had faced since childhood. It was a dream that seemed out of reach. A car worth over $80,000? For someone who could barely save enough money to fix the air conditioning? Everything suggested it was impossible, but something inside him insisted on believing. One night, exhausted from his routine and frustrated with life, Daniel searched for something motivational on YouTube and stumbled upon a lecture by Rhonda Byrne, author of The Secret. Thoughts become things. What you focus on, you attract. The phrase echoed in his mind. He spent the entire night watching testimonials from people who claimed to have changed their lives using the law of attraction. People who got dream jobs, happy marriages, unexpected trips, even cars. At first, he laughed. This is too good to be true, he thought. But at the same time, something inside him sparked. What if it worked? What if it was really possible? He had nothing to lose. The next morning, Daniel decided to put what he had learned into practice. He grabbed an old car magazine and cut out a picture of the exact car he wanted. He taped it to his bedroom mirror so it would be the first thing he saw every morning and every night. He closed his eyes and imagined himself driving that car, visualizing every detail: the smooth steering wheel, the scent of the white leather, the futuristic dashboard. He pictured the sensation of freedom as he glided down the road, silent except for the elegant quiet of the electric engine. He didn't just think about the car, he felt as if it was already his. For a few minutes, he could believe. But when he opened his eyes, there was his old Corolla, parked outside the building. Bills were still coming in, his salary remained the same, and the Tesla seemed as distant as ever. There were days when doubt took over. Am I just deluding myself? Am I wasting time with these visualizations? But instead of giving up, Daniel remembered the stories he had watched. If it worked for others, it could work for him too. A few weeks later, small coincidences began to happen. He started seeing Teslas everywhere. On the way to work, there always seemed to be one passing by. In the supermarket parking lot, there was often a black Tesla near where he parked his old car. Daniel began to laugh to himself. Is the universe showing me that I'm on the right path? One day, leaving work, he noticed a black Tesla Model S parked right next to his Corolla. The contrast was striking. He spent minutes staring at the car, almost as if it were a preview of what was to come. Around the same time, a coworker, Michael, mentioned cars during lunch. He said he was thinking about upgrading his own car and had his eye on a Tesla. Daniel choked on his food. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. It was as if the universe was testing his faith. "Really?" he asked, trying to hide his excitement. "Yes, man. I think it's the best choice for the future. What about you? Have you thought about upgrading your Corolla?" Daniel smiled. Inside, he wanted to shout that he already had a Tesla in mind, and it just needed to appear in reality. Instead, he said, "Yes, I've been thinking about it a lot." From then on, Daniel intensified his practice. Every night before bed, he did an exercise called scripting, writing in a notebook as if he were already living the reality he desired. "Today was amazing, driving my Tesla for the first time. The car is quiet, comfortable, exactly as I imagined. I feel free, confident, and fulfilled." He didn't just write, he felt every word, programming his mind and the universe to bring it to him. Gradually, Daniel noticed an internal transformation. He felt more confident, positive, and open to opportunities. It was as if the mere act of believing had already changed something within him. But it wasn't all smooth. Some days, reality hit hard. An unexpected bill, a broken car part, bad news at work. Doubt returned. What if none of this happens? What if it's all just a delusion? But Daniel remembered a phrase he had heard. "The universe tests your faith before delivering your desire." He decided he wouldn't give up. He would continue believing, even without knowing how it would happen. And that persistence would be the key to opening doors he couldn't yet imagine. One rainy night, everything changed. Daniel was home, lying on the couch, when he decided to write in the notebook again, but this time with a different intensity, as if pouring his entire soul into every word. "My Tesla is already mine. I am grateful for it every day. Thank you, universe, for bringing me exactly what I desired. I can already feel it, live it. It is real." In that moment, something inside him shifted. It was no longer a request, nor a doubt. It was certainty. This was only the first stage of Daniel's journey. He didn't know it yet, but the universe was already conspiring to make the improbable a reality. Soon, he would discover that the car of his dreams would come to him in a way he could never have planned. In the days following that rainy night when Daniel wrote his desire with total intensity, something began to change, almost imperceptibly, but powerfully. He still drove his old Corolla, still faced overdue bills and financial challenges, but something inside had shifted. A sense of anticipation that something greater was about to happen. He began to notice that the universe, in mysterious and unexpected ways, was responding to his desire. The very next morning, Daniel noticed the first clear sign. He was driving to work when, at a traffic light, he saw a black Tesla Model S parked ahead. It was exactly the model he had dreamed of. For a moment, he allowed himself to feel the pure joy of being in front of that car. No physical touch, no actual possession, just the presence of the object of his desire stirred something within him, an emotion that it was already somehow part of his life. He smiled to himself, realizing that even small everyday signs could remind him that his dream was approaching. In the following days, the signs repeated. Teslas appeared more and more often in his path, in supermarket parking lots, on the street near his home, on the way to work. Daniel began mentally noting every coincidence, every unusual detail. He realized that these signs were not mere coincidences. They were subtle confirmations that his visualization practice was taking effect. For the first time, he felt that the universe was truly aligning forces in his favor. At the same time, Daniel began noticing internal changes in himself. He became more confident, more attentive to opportunities, and more receptive to ideas he would have dismissed before. His mind was in a positive, alert state, always looking for ways to bring his desire into reality. And it was in this state of awareness that an unexpected opportunity began to appear. One day, during lunch, Daniel received a message from Michael, his coworker, who had previously mentioned the Tesla. Michael said he was determined to sell the Tesla he had recently acquired, and that if Daniel wanted it, he could be the first to express interest. Daniel's heart raced. What had once seemed impossible now appeared before him concretely. He took a deep breath, feeling a mix of disbelief and excitement. The manifestation of his desire was approaching in an unlikely but real way. In the following days, Daniel began experiencing something he had never felt before, a series of coincidences that defied logic. He found articles about Teslas on news sites, received emails with promotions, and read stories of people who had achieved similar dreams using the law of attraction. Every time a sign appeared, his faith grew, his confidence strengthened. He realized that it wasn't just the desire for the car being manifested, but a complete transformation in his perception of reality. His nightly visualization and scripting practice became even more intense. Every night before sleeping, Daniel wrote as if he were already driving the Tesla, describing every detail of the car, the feeling of freedom while driving it, the comfort of the interior, and even the admiring glances of people around. He felt every word with intensity, allowing each cell in his body to absorb the emotion of already owning the car of his dreams. This practice, combined with actively noticing the universe's signs, began creating an invisible force that seemed to work in his favor almost magically. One day, something astonishing happened. Daniel was in a shopping mall parking lot when he noticed a black Tesla Model S parked right next to his Corolla, reflecting the image he visualized every night. One detail caught his attention. The car had a personalized plate that symbolically matched the first letter of his name and a number he considered special. Daniel felt a shiver run through his body. He knew this wasn't a mere coincidence. It was a direct confirmation that his desire was being heard and was on its way. As the weeks passed, Daniel noticed a profound change in his emotional state. He no longer felt constant anxiety about money or frustration about not having the car. Instead, there was a sense of absolute trust that the universe was preparing the way. He intuitively understood that his role was to keep visualizing, feeling, and believing, and that the universe would handle the rest. It was total surrender, trusting the flow of life and the certainty that the manifestation would occur at the right time. Daniel also realized that opportunities didn't only come in the form of visual signs. He received unexpected invitations to networking events, met influential people with similar interests, and even was approached by someone selling a Tesla under special conditions. Every detail seemed to conspire to make the impossible possible. He was experiencing firsthand how the law of attraction doesn't just act on material desires, but on the entire network of possibilities around those who believe. What impressed Daniel most wasn't the external signs, but the internal transformation that was happening. He became more patient, more grateful, and more aware of his emotions. Each day of practice, every intense visualization, and every small coincidence strengthened his faith and the certainty that his dream car would arrive, even if he didn't yet know how. He realized the universe wasn't just granting his desire, but it was shaping his character and preparing him to receive something that had once seemed unattainable. Then, on an ordinary day during a work meeting, Daniel received a phone call that changed everything. It was Michael saying he had found a buyer for the Tesla, but due to unexpected circumstances, the deal wouldn't go through. He was offering the car to Daniel under conditions he could never have imagined. Daniel's heart raced. Every sensation, every visualization, every sign received over the weeks culminated in that moment. He knew with a clarity he had never experienced that his desire was about to manifest in a concrete, real way. Daniel mentally gave thanks, feeling profound gratitude even before seeing the car. He knew manifestation wasn't just about possessing the object itself, but about the transformation he had experienced along the way. It was proof that believing, visualizing, and deeply feeling what you desire creates an invisible force capable of moving the world in ways we could never plan. In that instant, Daniel realized he was about to experience something that would prove once and for all that the improbable can become reality. In the days following Michael's phone call, Daniel felt a mix of anxiety and euphoria that he couldn't control. Every time he thought about the car, his heart raced, but he also reminded himself to stay calm, to continue feeling as if he already owned the Tesla, as if the universe were already preparing the delivery perfectly. He knew that true manifestation doesn't happen through effort, but through surrender and unwavering faith. And that was exactly what he was practicing. The next morning, Daniel drove his Corolla as usual, but something felt different. Every noise from the old car, every bump in the road, seemed to heighten the anticipation that something new was about to enter his life. He felt a sense of gratitude in advance, imagining the smell of the leather, the silent hum of the electric engine, the futuristic dashboard illuminating his face. And, without knowing how, he realized that a sense of absolute certainty had settled within him. The car of his dreams was about to materialize. Meanwhile, Michael kept him updated on the progress of the sale. By coincidence, the previous buyer backed out at the last minute due to financial issues. It was almost unbelievable, but to Daniel, every detail confirmed that the universe was perfectly aligned. He took a deep breath and felt, for the first time, that no obstacle could truly prevent his Tesla from arriving. Everything seemed to conspire in favor of his desire, and each new piece of information reinforced his faith. On the day the deal could finally be closed, Daniel woke up with an excitement he could hardly contain. He dressed carefully, reviewed the details of the transaction in his mind, and most importantly, maintained the practice of visualizing what it would be like to get into the car for the first time, turn on the silent engine, and feel the smooth steering. He realized something essential. It wasn't just about the car, but about the emotion of already having achieved what he had longed for. When Daniel arrived at the dealership where Michael had arranged to show the car, he felt a flutter in his stomach. The Tesla was there, parked exactly as he had imagined every night. It was impossible not to be moved. He approached slowly, almost reverently, touched the glossy black surface, and felt an immediate connection. Everything he had visualized, written in his notebook, and felt with intensity was now before him in physical form. It was surreal. Every detail of the car perfectly matched the image he had kept alive in his mind for months. Michael opened the doors and invited Daniel inside. He took a deep breath, feeling the white leather under his hands, the digital dashboard softly lighting up, and the perfect ergonomics of the steering wheel. When he started the car for the first time, the absolute silence of the electric engine brought an indescribable emotion. Daniel felt tears welling up in his eyes. The manifestation, which until then had seemed distant and improbable, was now concrete and real. He was living the result of every visualization, every intense feeling, and every moment of unwavering faith. In the days that followed, Daniel realized that the true transformation went far beyond the car itself. The experience had changed his way of seeing life, his expectations, and his relationship with the universe. He learned that faith, persistence, and surrender are more powerful than any physical effort or detailed plan. Every small sign that once seemed casual now had meaning. The universe was always responding, even when the human mind could not perceive it. Daniel also began to notice how his entire life started aligning in surprising ways. His confidence increased, he felt more capable at work, more open to opportunities, and more generous with those around him. The car was not just an object of desire, it was a symbol of everything he had achieved internally: patience, faith, and connection with something greater than himself. He understood that what manifests outwardly first manifests inwardly. As he drove through the streets of Austin in his Tesla, Daniel felt pure joy, a sense of freedom he had never experienced. He not only owned the car, but he had become someone worthy of the experience he was living. Every admiring glance from passers-by, every feeling of the steering wheel in his hands, every detail of the digital dashboard was a reminder that the impossible can become possible when the mind and heart are aligned with the desire.
And so, Daniel Thompson experienced something many consider impossible. The car of his dreams arrived in an improbable but perfectly orchestrated way by the universe. He learned that the law of attraction doesn't just deliver what you desire, it transforms who you need to be to receive it. The acquisition of the Tesla was only the beginning of a new journey of confidence, faith, and conscious manifestation.
When Daniel entered the Tesla for the first time, he felt an emotion beyond any expectation. It wasn't just the beauty of the car, nor the luxury of the white leather interior or the futuristic dashboard that fascinated him. It was the feeling that he had accessed a dimension of life that had once seemed impossible, a space where his thoughts and desires could become reality in ways he had never imagined. Every detail of the car seemed to confirm everything he had been practicing: visualize, feel, believe, and surrender. In that moment, he realized that the law of attraction worked far more deeply than simply getting something you desire. It changed who you are, transformed your perception, and opened doors that had once seemed locked. In the first days of driving the Tesla, Daniel noticed that the experience was triggering subtle changes in his daily life. People who knew him began noticing his renewed confidence. Colleagues commented on his positive energy, the way he handled challenges, and even his posture in meetings. He realized that the manifestation of the car was not just material. It was an internal manifestation of self-efficacy, confidence, and openness to opportunities. Every curious or admiring glance he received on the streets became a subtle reminder that the universe responds in unexpected ways when you fully believe in what you desire. Moreover, new opportunities began to appear almost magically. During a trip to the supermarket, Daniel ran into an old friend who had moved to another city. During their conversation, the friend mentioned starting a luxury electric vehicle investment project and suggested Daniel get involved. It was something he would never have considered before practicing the law of attraction. This coincidence seemed too unlikely to be mere luck. Once again, he felt that the universe was opening doors not only for his desire to have the Tesla, but also for personal and professional growth he didn't even know he was ready to receive. Each new event reinforced Daniel's faith. He realized that manifestations don't just occur directly, but through a series of signs, encounters, and opportunities that perfectly align with his original intention. This understanding brought a new level of gratitude and awareness. He began to notice not only visible results, but also invisible details: the growing confidence within him, the clarity of thought, the sense of deserving that intensified each day. Meanwhile, Daniel continued his daily visualization and scripting practices, but with even more refined focus. Now he didn't just visualize the car, he visualized opportunities arising, projects materializing, and meaningful connections with the right people. Every time he wrote in his notebook, he felt the emotion of already having these experiences, as if each new desire was being planted in fertile ground prepared by his own faith. He learned that the law of attraction is not just about materializing isolated desires, but about creating an entire life in harmony with what you want to feel and experience. One of the most remarkable moments of this phase occurred during a nighttime drive around the city. Daniel was driving his Tesla, feeling the smoothness of the ride and the freedom the car provided, when he realized he was smiling for no apparent reason. He felt a deep wave of gratitude, not just for the car, but for everything the journey had taught him: patience, unwavering faith, and the ability to notice the universe's signs. In that instant, he understood that the true magic of manifestation lies not in the desired object, but in the internal transformation it provokes. People around Daniel also began noticing changes. Friends and family commented on his energy, his confident demeanor, and his ability to approach life with lightness and optimism. Some asked how he had achieved his desire so quickly. Daniel, with a subtle smile, simply said it all started with deeply believing and feeling as if he had already achieved it.
He realized that the law of attraction is only as powerful as the intensity and consistency with which you practice, feel, and believe. In the following months, Daniel continued to observe small manifestations accumulating in his life. The car was only the first of many desires realized. He began receiving unexpected opportunities at work, invitations to exclusive events, and even small daily victories that seemed like coincidences, but were clearly the direct result of his connection with the universe. Each new experience reinforced the certainty that what you place in your mind and feel intensely can indeed materialize in surprising and unexpected ways. And so, Daniel Thompson experienced one of the deepest lessons anyone can learn about the law of attraction. That unwavering faith, consistent practice, and total surrender not only attract what you desire, but also transform who you need to be to receive it. The car of his dreams was the visible manifestation, but the true transformation was internal, paving the way for a fuller, more conscious life connected to the infinite possibilities the universe offers. After Daniel finally had the Tesla in his hands, something extraordinary began to happen in his life. It wasn't just about the car, but about the feeling that the impossible was becoming everyday reality. Every time he drove, every time he looked at the steering wheel, he felt a shiver of gratitude and admiration for the universe, realizing that his life was being reshaped in an invisible yet tangible way. What once seemed distant and improbable was now manifesting in unexpected and wonderful ways. A few days after acquiring the car, a series of unexpected events further reinforced Daniel's faith. He had planned a nighttime drive through the city just to feel the car in motion, and as he turned a corner, he came across a small luxury car event happening in a nearby plaza. It was as if the universe had prepared an exclusive scene just for him. There, among Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and other Teslas, Daniel noticed something that left him speechless. Other Tesla owners approached to compliment his car and share experiences, as if that unlikely gathering was a silent confirmation that he had entered a new dimension of life. The most impressive moment, however, came when he received an unexpected phone call from an old contact named Alex, who worked at an electric car startup. Alex had seen the Tesla Daniel had bought and asked if he would be interested in joining a pilot project that included exclusive benefits such as early technological upgrades and access to private events. It was something he would never have imagined, something that seemed too unlikely to be real. But for Daniel, there was no doubt. His consistent practice of visualization and gratitude had attracted this opportunity to him. As he drove through the streets of Austin, Daniel reflected on how every detail of his journey had been carefully orchestrated. From daily visualization to subtle signs along the way to unlikely encounters with influential people, everything seemed to conspire to make the dream of the car a reality. He realized that the universe not only delivers what you desire, but also creates situations and connects people in ways that defy logic and human understanding. In the following days, Daniel continued to notice how small coincidences kept happening. A coworker casually mentioned knowing about a used Tesla in excellent condition, priced below market, exactly the model he had envisioned. Another time, a friend mentioned how easy it was to get exclusive upgrades for electric cars, which he was immediately able to apply. Each detail reinforced a simple truth. The more aligned you are with your desire, the more the universe finds ways to materialize it in unexpected ways. But the manifestation wasn't limited to the car. Daniel began to notice that his internal state of gratitude and faith was attracting other improvements in his life. He felt more confident at work, more connected with friends and family, and more open to opportunities that previously would have gone unnoticed. Every achievement, no matter how small, seemed to amplify the power of his manifestation. He understood that the law of attraction doesn't act only on the physical plane, it transforms the entire life of those who truly believe. On a particularly remarkable day, Daniel was invited to attend a technology event focused on innovation and sustainability, where the Tesla would be a highlight. As he drove to the venue, he noticed several people filming and photographing cars in the parking lot. To his surprise, his Tesla was recognized as one of the most desired and talked about models. He allowed himself to feel profound gratitude, not just for the car, but for everything he had learned about manifestation, patience, and surrender. In that instant, he understood that the true magic of manifestation lies not in the desired object, but in the internal transformation it provokes. People around Daniel also began noticing changes. Friends and family commented on his energy, his confident demeanor, and his ability to approach life with lightness and optimism. Some asked how he had achieved his desire so quickly. Daniel, with a subtle smile, simply said it all started with deeply believing and feeling as if he had already achieved it. He realized that the law of attraction is only as powerful as the intensity and consistency with which you practice, feel, and believe. In the following months, Daniel continued to observe small manifestations accumulating in his life. The car was only the first of many desires realized. He began receiving unexpected opportunities at work, invitations to exclusive events, and even small daily victories that seemed like coincidences but were clearly the direct result of his connection with the universe. Each new experience reinforced the certainty that what you place in your mind and feel intensely can indeed materialize in surprising and unexpected ways. And so, Daniel Thompson experienced one of the deepest lessons anyone can learn about the law of attraction.
After acquiring the Tesla, Daniel realized that his life had changed in profound and unexpected ways. It wasn't just the fulfillment of a material desire, but a complete transformation in his perception of reality and emotional state. He began to notice that his daily routine, once marked by anxiety and financial limitations, had become fertile ground for new opportunities and manifestations. Every small detail of his day seemed aligned with his positive energy, reinforcing the feeling that the universe was working in his favor on multiple levels. Driving the Tesla through the streets of Austin became an experience of contemplation. Every turn, every traffic light, every trip downtown served as a reminder that dreams, when lived with intensity and faith, can become reality in surprising ways. Daniel began to realize that it wasn't just about wanting something, but about feeling every moment as if it had already happened, allowing his mind and heart to align with what he wanted to manifest. With the car came new opportunities he had never imagined. People who had once seemed distant began to approach, bringing invitations to exclusive events, high-level networking, and even professional project proposals. Each coincidence reinforced his belief that manifestation is not just about objects or isolated achievements, but about opening doors to experiences aligned with your purpose and desire. Daniel felt more confident, more proactive, and more aware of the small synchronicities guiding his life. The Tesla, which had once represented only a distant dream, became a constant symbol of gratitude and faith. Daniel established a daily routine of visualization and scripting, now expanded. He didn't just visualize the car, but imagined other areas of his life transformed, from relationships to financial opportunities and personal projects. He realized that a successful manifestation creates a wave of positive energy that attracts other achievements, as if each desire fulfilled strengthens the ability to manifest new goals. One of the most remarkable experiences during this period occurred when Daniel decided to take the Tesla on a weekend trip outside the city. During the journey, he reflected on how every sign, coincidence, and opportunity that had arisen along his journey had perfectly connected to bring the car into his life. He remembered the daily visualizations, the cutout images of the car he had placed on his bedroom mirror, and the intense emotions he had felt in every moment of surrender and faith. Every detail now seemed to make sense. The manifestation had not only been physical, but a transformation of his entire vibration and perception of reality. Moreover, Daniel began to notice that his relationship with money and financial opportunities was also changing. Previously limited by beliefs and anxiety, he began to act with more confidence and strategy, seeing solutions where he had once seen only obstacles.
The Tesla became a symbol of abundance, not just as an object, but as a reflection of the internal state of worthiness and confidence he cultivated. He understood that manifesting something is also about preparing to receive it consciously and responsibly. Meanwhile, small coincidences continued to reinforce his faith. He met people who shared similar manifestation stories, received unexpected tips on investments and opportunities, and even simple situations like parking spaces or casual encounters seemed perfectly orchestrated for his convenience. Every detail reinforced the lesson he had been learning. The more aligned you are with your desire, the more the universe responds, often in ways we cannot predict. The deepest transformation, however, was not in objects or opportunities, but in Daniel's perception of himself and the world. He felt more connected, more confident, and more grateful, realizing that every fulfilled desire is also a reflection of the energy you emit and your ability to remain focused, grateful, and open. The Tesla had been only the first step in a series of manifestations that now seemed possible because he had learned to keep his heart and mind aligned with the frequency of what he desired. Daniel also began to inspire others around him. Friends, family, and colleagues noticed his transformation and often asked how he had managed to achieve something seemingly impossible. He shared his experiences sincerely, explaining how the daily practice of visualization, scripting, and gratitude had transformed not only his material reality, but his entire emotional and mental life. He became a living example that intense belief and consistent faith-based action create concrete and transformative results. And so Daniel Thompson continued his journey, learning that manifestation doesn't end with the achievement of an object or isolated desire. It is a continuous process of internal alignment, noticing signs, surrender, and conscious action. The Tesla, which arrived in an improbable way, became the starting point for a lifetime of opportunities, experiences, and unexpected transformations, showing that the power to create reality is always present for those who believe, feel, and act with faith and gratitude. Even with the Tesla finally in his possession and all the extraordinary experiences he had already lived, Daniel realized that true manifestation wasn't limited to the fulfilled desire. The universe still had lessons and surprises in store, and every new challenge served to strengthen his faith and expand his consciousness. He began to understand that often manifestations come with subtle tests, moments that challenge patience, gratitude, and trust before consolidating something even greater. One day, while driving through the city, Daniel faced a minor setback. The Tesla had an unexpected technical issue, something he had never anticipated. For a few moments, frustration tried to arise, but he quickly remembered the practices he had cultivated. He took a deep breath, felt gratitude for the car even amid the setback, and visualized the perfect solution manifesting. Within a few hours, the problem was resolved smoothly and efficiently, reinforcing the idea that even small adversities serve as reminders of surrender and trust in the universe. In the following days, Daniel began receiving surprising feedback from people who admired the Tesla and the story of its manifestation. Some confessed that they were also trying to manifest desires, but felt frustrated at not seeing quick results. Daniel realized that sharing his experience could inspire others to understand that manifestation requires consistency, patience, and surrender, and that every detail of life is part of the process. Meanwhile, new coincidences began to align. Daniel found opportunities for car upgrades, early access to tech events, and even simple situations like parking spaces or casual encounters seemed perfectly orchestrated for his convenience. Every detail reinforced the lesson he had been learning. The more aligned you are with your desire, the more the universe responds, often in ways we cannot predict. The deepest transformation, however, was not in objects or opportunities, but in Daniel's perception of himself and the world. He felt more connected, more confident, and more grateful, realizing that every fulfilled desire is also a reflection of the energy you emit and your ability to remain focused, grateful, and open. The Tesla had been only the first step in a series of manifestations that now seemed possible because he had learned to keep his heart and mind aligned with the frequency of what he desired. Daniel also began to inspire others around him. Friends, family, and colleagues noticed his transformation and often asked how he had managed to achieve something seemingly impossible. He shared his experiences sincerely, explaining how the daily practice of visualization, scripting, and gratitude had transformed not only his material reality, but his entire emotional and mental life. He became a living example that intense belief and consistent faith-based action create concrete and transformative results. One of the most remarkable experiences during this period occurred when Daniel decided to take the Tesla on a weekend trip outside the city. During the journey, he reflected on how every sign, coincidence, and opportunity that had arisen along his journey had perfectly connected to bring the car into his life. He remembered the daily visualizations, the cutout images of the car he had placed on his bedroom mirror, and the intense emotions he had felt in every moment of surrender and faith. Every detail now seemed to make sense. The manifestation had not only been physical, but a transformation of his entire vibration and perception of reality. Moreover, Daniel began to notice that his relationship with money and financial opportunities was also changing. Previously limited by beliefs and anxiety, he began to act with more confidence and strategy, seeing solutions where he had once seen only obstacles. The Tesla became a symbol of abundance, not just as an object, but as a reflection of the internal state of worthiness and confidence he cultivated. He understood that manifesting something is also about preparing to receive it consciously and responsibly. Meanwhile, small coincidences continued to reinforce his faith. He met people who shared similar manifestation stories, received unexpected tips on investments and opportunities, and even simple situations like parking spaces or casual encounters seemed perfectly orchestrated for his convenience. Every detail reinforced the lesson.
After months of practice, signs, coincidences, and extraordinary experiences, Daniel Thompson finally understood the full dimension of his journey. The Tesla, which at first seemed like a distant material desire, had become a powerful symbol of faith, surrender, and internal transformation. He realized that manifestation isn't limited to achieving a specific dream, but changes the way you see yourself, your life, and your possibilities. Every detail of this experience taught him that desires manifest in ways that often surpass our boldest expectations. In the days following the arrival of the car, Daniel began to notice how his entire life was aligned differently. He not only had the Tesla, but also a sense of confidence, worthiness, and gratitude that radiated into all areas of his life. Professional projects began to develop naturally, unexpected opportunities arose, and he felt a deeper connection with people who shared his life vision. It was as if the manifestation of a true desire opened a wave of abundance in every aspect of existence. Daniel also reflected on the importance of the small daily practices that had brought him to this point: detailed visualizations, intense scripting, genuine gratitude, and total surrender to the universe. He realized it wasn't just about wanting something, but about feeling every emotion as if it were already real, allowing every cell in his body to absorb this positive energy. Every night, every writing session, every feeling of anticipatory joy contributed to the manifestation materializing in such an extraordinary way. But the deepest transformation wasn't in the car or in the opportunities that arose. It was in who Daniel had become throughout the process. He became more patient, more aware, more confident, and more connected with the flow of life. He learned that the true power of the law of attraction lies in transforming the person so they are ready and worthy to receive what they desire, not just in materializing objects or isolated achievements.
In moments of reflection, Daniel looked at his Tesla parked under the morning sun and felt a wave of pure gratitude. Every detail of his life up to that point, the signs, coincidences, encounters, and even small challenges, had been part of a perfect symphony orchestrated by the universe, designed to teach him that believing, feeling, and surrendering are the keys to turning dreams into reality. The journey also brought an even greater lesson. Manifestation is not a single event, but a continuous process. Every desire fulfilled creates a vibration that attracts new opportunities and experiences. Daniel understood that what he had manifested with the Tesla was just the beginning of a lifetime of achievements aligned with his energy, intentions, and emotions. The key was to remain conscious, grateful, and aligned with the frequency of his desires, trusting that the universe always works in his favor, even in ways the human mind cannot foresee. The Tesla of his dreams had arrived in an improbable way, but the true achievement was Daniel's transformation, the expansion of his consciousness, and the confirmation that life responds to those who believe intensely and with gratitude. He learned that the magic of manifestation is not only in the object or desire fulfilled, but in the personal evolution that occurs along the way, in the lessons learned, and in the ability to receive something that once seemed impossible. And now I want to know from you, what is the desire you most want to manifest in your life, and what are you doing to feel as if it has already happened? Write it in the comments below, share your story, and let's inspire others together to believe in the power of the law of attraction.